Here's a sample episode of Roadkill Extra that shows up every single weekday at MotorTrendOnDemand.com. We've got outtakes, question and answer sessions, behind the scenes stuff, tech tips, all sorts of junk related to Roadkill. Check it out every weekday at MotorTrend On Demand. Hey, it's Freiburger. I'm here on the set of Roadkill Garage, and in this episode of Roadkill Extra, I'm going to give you a sneak peek to everything that we've got going on in some upcoming episodes. You can see Dulcich is right there, standing behind the movie light, making magic happen with parts. We're working on the Dirt Track Challenger right now. This is the car that we bought in an episode of Roadkill up in Oregon, and Finnegan and I got the thing running, and we did that episode. We did another one where we raced it at Roadkill Nights, but we never really dug the car that much, to tell you the truth, even though it's a 1970 Challenger, which is cool. And so Dulcich and I are making it really good, as you can see. Stay tuned for more on that one. But let me show you a whole bunch of the other projects that we've got going on. Here's a hint, by the way, right there. This is the Crusher Camaro. The Hot Rod Magazine / Roadkill / Freiburger Crusher Camaro. Now, if you've been following Roadkill Garage, you know that we've started working on this thing. We built the engine in one episode, and then we put the engine in the car in another episode. And there's always a choice in production of, man, do I run those episodes consecutively, or do I break them up? And I decided to break them up. We ran the episode about building the engine, and then I think we did Dulcich's truck. Then we ran the episode about putting the engine in the car, and then we did something else. So the car sits here, sort of half done, waiting for its next step. You saw another Roadkill Extra where Dulcich started fiberglassing in the grump lump hood scoop that's going to be on this car. And so right now it sits in limbo, looking terrible, with a half-installed hood scoop, with Pro Touring wheels and tires, with completely the wrong stance for the engine and for the scoop. The car looks like a complete mess. And so that's what we're going to be fixing the next time that you see the Crusher Camaro on Roadkill Garage. Is it'll have suspension, it has a new Gearstar transmission, which is super cool. Gearstar actually just signed up to be an official sponsor on Roadkill, which is nice because we have their transmissions and all kinds of stuff. So that car is the only one that actually sits around inside all of the time and under a car cover. Welcome to daylight. It's always weird walking out of the shop, which is like pitch dark, into the bright sun to hang out with the puppies. Hey dogs, what's happening? Come here, buddies. I don't know if everybody completely knows the Roadkill Dog Pack. This one here is Big Joe. He was the first one to show up. He literally just appeared one day, and he was hanging out with us, and this guy came back and said, hey, that's my dog. We're like, okay. He's like, I'm gonna come pick him up. Like, okay. He never did. And so now Big Joe lives here. And I don't know why, but he's clearly the leader of the pack. This here is Brownie. So Big Joe had puppies with a little Chihuahua, and there was like 5 of them. And the ones that have survived so far are Brownie right there and Blackie right there. You can see Blackie is called Blackie because he has more black on him. He's obviously a brown dog, but he's black up here and he's got some black on his tail. Brownie over there is more brown, and he had a brother Whitey, but unfortunately Whitey got killed by the pit bull next door. So we can show you his corpse out in the vineyard if you'd like. And this is Terry. Terry is our most recent addition. She's still a little bit skittish. She's kind of our worst dog. She eats food off the table. She's not that pettable. And yeah, that's Terry. Okay, there's the Vanishing Paint Challenger. That thing we have plans for. This was like on the 2nd or 3rd episode of Roadkill Garage. It's another 70 Dodge Challenger. This one's mine. We pulled an engine out of an old Dodge D100 pickup and put it in this thing, and we've now hopped up that engine, rebuilt it and everything. We used it on an episode of Engine Masters. It had a balance problem. We've taken it apart, we've put it back together. This thing is ready to go. Our ultimate plan for this car is to make it a really cheap handling car and try and see how we can match it up against a brand new Challenger as far as performance goes. That is not on the current schedule. That's just sort of a Freiburger and Dulcich fantasy, so I don't know exactly when that's going to happen, but that's what's supposed to happen to this. This is actually a 70 Dodge Dart 344 speed car. Back here, we've got the Dulcich 100, the D100, also known as the Mopar muscle truck. We do not have this one currently on the books to do anything for an episode, although we probably will, because when you saw this last time when we raced it against the Chevy muscle truck from Roadkill at Tucson Dragway, this thing didn't perform as well as we really needed it to, because he had a shifting problem with the thing and a massive traction problem with it. There's another episode of Roadkill Extra that you'll see where he'll describe more about what he's done with the traction bars, which were added since the last episode. And also an 8 3/4 rear end went in this thing, which wasn't really shown in the episode when we first built it. But the latest problem is it went to the chassis dyno. I think it made 360 horsepower at the rear tires, but the ring gear broke off the torque converter. Well, not the torque converter, it's a stick. So on this thing, it would be on the flywheel. And so now it can't start, and so we're gonna have to take the transmission out of it, replace the flywheel, we'll probably put a different clutch in the thing, make it so the transmission shifts and get it back together. And I think you'll see this thing on Roadkill Garage sometime in the future, although there isn't a current plan for it. Wow, there are way too many Mopars here, aren't there? This is the crop duster. We have started to paint the crop duster. In fact, we've already started filming the episode here and there. Dulcich already went and took all the rust off the top, took it all the way down to bare metal, and then just shot some primer on it. But unfortunately, he did sort of the last minute thing, which we often do in video, which is, we gotta move on, we gotta get stuff done. He didn't use a sealing primer on it because he didn't have any at the time that they needed to shoot this thing. And you can see that it's already lifting from sitting out here. And so the bodywork's done on it, but this is gonna have to get taken down to bare metal again so that we can seal it and paint the whole car. You can see the windshield's out of it because we need to fix this right here, which is kind of a disaster. If you look at a lot of episodes that this car's been in, be it Roadkill or Roadkill Garage, you can see I had a piece of white duct tape or gaff tape over this hole, but we're gonna fix this the right way. This thing also has a big chunk of rot here where the factory lead is, so we're gonna have to chip all this lead out and fix whatever's going on right there and clean this up. This is really the only really horrible part of the car. It does have some significant, like, hideous old repairs and things on it, but you'll get a whole episode of Roadkill Garage finding out about how we're gonna do all the bodywork ourselves and paint this thing ourselves right here at the Dulcich barnyard. What else is actually coming up on the show that I can show you? Oh, we're gonna have to trek all the way back here into the back. This thing has become a parts truck. As a matter of fact, if you watch the episode coming up where we do the dirt track challenger that we're working on today, you'll see that I made a big part of the grill out of a fender that used to be on this truck right here. Before Dulcich got in an accident with it, somebody hit him and they mangled that fender, and so I used that fender for sheet metal parts. Cameraman Brad sneezing. He can't handle the pollen from the barnyard. You know what? Dulcich is not in the grape business anymore. Look at those vines. Literally dead on the vine. He's doing Roadkill stuff full time now. Look, here's the hood to the dirt track challenger sitting around. One of the key things to me about what we're doing on this episode is sanding off all the yellow and getting rid of it and just spray painting it black. I never could stand the cheapy paint job on that thing. Let's see, any other updates on stuff happening for Roadkill Garage? You can see some of the vehicles still sitting here. There's the episode of Roadkill that I did with Rick Payaway, is with that flat fender Jeep right there, the black one. The other flat fender Jeep actually belongs to Steve's brother, and they've had it since they were teenagers. And so that's pretty cool. Over here, do you remember the episode of Roadkill Garage where we rescued this thing from Rick Payway's backyard? I think a 67 Jeep panel truck. And there will be an upcoming episode of Roadkill Extra where you will learn way more about this particular D100. This was the one that I remember Steve driving more than any of the other ones before he finished the gold Mopar muscle truck. And he'll get in depth on that in another Roadkill Extra. And I think I have two more to show you. Okay, the Crew Cab Chevelle, our 66 Chevy Chevelle that we built in a couple of episodes, one of which we raced against Lucky Costa's Chevelle. And it's just been sitting here rotting into the ground ever since, which should not surprise you at all. Look at the spiderweb action in this thing. Wow, that's good. Check that out. Oh, there's even more under the steering wheel. That's almost artsy. Look at the light coming through those webs. That's what happens when stuff sits out here. But despite the neglect, this is actually a pretty cool car. Oh, see, here's the biggest problem. Look at the dog over here on the right. Look at Brownie. Here in the field, the bunnies get under the hoods of the vehicles, and that dog gets up on hoods and scratches them all up and chews on stuff. Brownie, get lost. Quit it. Quit it. Yeah, look at that. Look what he just did to this truck. That is the worst problem with the Roadkill Garage Dog Pack, is Brownie will do this to get at bunnies under the hood. Here comes Big Joe to see what all the commotion's about. Look out behind you, camera Brad. There's Big Joe. Anyway, I was telling you about the Crew Cab Chevelle. Our plan with that now is to see how fast we can make it go top speed. We want to leave it sort of as low buck and sort of, you know, cheesily put together as it is, but find out if we can take it to like a standing mile event or something like this. You remember we just bought this engine from you know, a buddy of ours who just had it sitting around. We don't really know what's inside it. In fact, we haven't even put headers on it or anything. Stupid dog. But I think if I took it to a standing mile event and like put an air dam on it, lowered it more, tuned this thing better, put, you know, a few different parts on it, I can probably get it to go, I don't know, 140 or something like that. And that's our plan, is like, you know what? There are motorsports events all over the country. And you sit around your house thinking, man, I could never afford to do that. And the thing is, you can, even with garbage like this. And that's what we're gonna prove when we put that together. And then there's my Jeepster. Watch Roadkill Extras, like go back in MotorTrend On Demand history and you can find all of the Roadkill Extras. I think this one is probably like number 170 something. One of them was the day that I picked this thing up and I told you all about this 73 Jeepster. Actually, it's not a Jeepster, it's a Commando. We have a dream for it. I don't know if it'll ever actually happen, so this is not in the firm plans for Roadkill Garage, but I would really like to put serious horsepower in this thing. Kind of keep the stance, you know, don't turn it into a killer rock crawler, don't pre-runner it. I want to have just a lot of horsepower in a 4x4 that can actually put it down. You know, maybe take it to the dunes, just drive the thing around. I don't know what it'll end up being. We've talked about taking the General Mayhem 440 and putting it in this thing. We've talked about it. What is Big Joe doing? Look at Big Joe now. See, Brownie has trained every one of these stupid dogs to just maim cars. All right, I've had enough of this. That's it for this Roadkill Extra. There may not be a Roadkill Dog Pack the next time you come back. See you later. If you need more Roadkill Extra, go sign up for the 30-day free trial right now.